It's August, and here in far north Queensland on the coast, we can hear an enormous amount of bird chatter coming from these fruiting trees. In these large fruiting trees, the birds move around continuously, searching for the right fruit, and they move in and out of these trees as a flock. Feeding activity and calling seems to happen more in the morning. In the heat of the day, you can find these birds roosting, like this in the fig tree, just roosting, not feeding. Look at the beautiful black sheen on this bird. It is fully black, and that eye, it is red. This bird is the metallic starling. Early morning again at a fig tree, and you can see these birds flying in as a flock. They move like bullets, coming in to find food. The bird calls from the flock seem to go all day and largely into the night. The calls slow down in the heat of the day, and here is one of these birds seen from the rear. Black glossy feathers with a sheen and a beautiful red eye. The sheen gives the bird a metallic look, giving rise to its species name, Metallica. The genus name is Aplonus, meaning simple or common. So the binomial name of the metallic starling is Aplonus metallica. Species of metallic starlings, or Aplonus, can be found from southern Asia, India, Bangladesh, running down through Southeast Asia into Papua New Guinea, Australia and Oceania. The metallic starling genus Aplonus does not include the common starling. In Australia, the morphology of the metallic starling can have a lot of variation, from the blackbird to ones like this with a very pale belly. And this is a young bird, again here eating another fig. Look at that beautiful sheen of the metallic appearance on the back. Let's now look at some of the behavioural characteristics of the metallic starlings. Here black, mature, metallic starlings sitting on the frond of a coconut palm tree. There are 3 black birds. But now let's look at the base of the fronds, closer to the tree trunk. Suddenly the birds aren't all black. They have a very pale belly and chest, with streaky, fine striations running up and down vertically. These are the birds that have not yet gone into full maturity. And it's interesting how these birds do separate into 2 groups, the mature and the immature. Metallic starlings are sexually isomorphic, so any apparent change in colour of these birds reflects an age change. Look at the metallic sheen on these birds. Green, mauve, black. They are absolutely stunning in the sunlight. Full mature birds are totally black. Some of the birds, like the one here on the right, have a little bit of white left on the throat. Probably still a breeding bird. But the fully mature black birds slipped away, leaving a collective of immature birds, all being pale on the underside. But yet they don't behave as immature birds. Just look at them pulling on the tendrils of coconut leaf fibre, gathering material for nesting. Here again a large collection of immature birds, all with pale undersides. This looks very much like a crèche for immature birds, with no fully mature birds being seen. Yet the fully black mature adults can be found in the fig tree, suggesting this age separation is intentional. Then, on some mysterious signal, suddenly all the young birds will also join the adults, leaving the crèche environment, joining the mature birds in the search for ripe fruit. Let's look at these immature birds. Some of them do have a metallic back, but the outstanding feature is the paleness of the front of the bird. The eye is still red, just like the full adult. Metallic starlings, though shown here in the fig tree eating fruit, are omnivorous. Another collection of young birds, whether a crèche or just a place for the immature to congregate, I'm uncertain. The tree being a she oak, one would suspect that they are gleaning, but there is no evidence of this, and there is no succulent fruits on she oaks. In this collective situation, they are busy little birds, collecting dried she oak leaves. For this is the perfect nesting material, and if you watch you will see the birds pick up these dry leaves, Then some of the birds will wrap this nesting material around a small branch, as though putting into practice the weaving skills required for nest making. You will also notice some yellow on the underbelly, and the more yellow, the more likely the bird is to be even younger. Some of the birds that do have white on the belly are still active breeding birds, so I'm not too sure exactly what this crash situation with the immature birds really means. Another example of how these white-bellied metallic starlings come into a she oak as a collective take the dried material and practice nest building skills. Some of these white-bellied metallic starlings do fly off with the nesting material, suggesting that they are in breeding mode. So separating a breeding from a non-breeding bird is difficult and has little to do with the full black coloration. Watch now as this starling wraps the nesting material around a branch, and this is how they construct their globular satellite nests in a tree, for they make their nests as a group. The metallic starlings suddenly appear on the tropical coast of Queensland, and it's thought that they fly over from Papua New Guinea, and large flocks can be seen crossing the Torres Strait, coming south into Australia to breed. It's interesting that there are many young birds. This is photographed in August, virtually as soon as they've arrived in Australia, so it may well be that there is some breeding taking place in Papua, but more likely getting to full maturity in terms of colour takes a considerable length of time for the metallic starling. And this is the case for another blackbird in Australia, the satin bowerbird, that matures over a 5 to 6 year period. Another she oak with a lot of immature birds. I put this one up because it's interesting in that suddenly these birds depart, and the reason for it may well be the call of a mature or semi-mature darker bird. You can see the dark bird as it flies around, and then it moves off to the left, and then it calls. Though this bird is not fully mature, it does seem to evoke a response from the other pale-bellied birds as it calls. Here they were underneath on the mud flats, and as the bird called, sure enough, up they go. And here is another situation where they will suddenly take off en masse. Now with the black sheen and the red eye, metallic starlings are usually fairly easy to pick, but not always. Here on the left with these fig birds, this looks like a female fig bird, but the red eye is the giveaway. This is a metallic starling. Initially seeing the male fig birds, one is drawn to the conclusion that it could be a female fig bird. But look carefully, the male fig bird has red only around the eye. The iris itself is just dark, not red. But as always, if we look around the tree, we can find the third fig bird, and it is a female, also collecting nesting material. The other feature of a female fig bird is that it has epaulets over the median coverts of the wing. With the younger, more immature birds, there is also variation in the amount of yellow over the pale underparts, and I suspect the more yellow implies a more immature bird. The common starling, which is imported into Australia and is now a nuisance bird in displacing native birds from nesting holes. It belongs to a different genus but does have the same metallic glow, distinguished from the metallic starling in that it is a smaller bird with a yellow bill. The spangled drongo is a blackbird with a reddish eye, but it is distinguished because it has a spangled chest and a fishtail tail. The trumpet manicoot, a little bigger than the metallic starling with an orange eye, and filamentous plumes coming from its occiput. The male eastern cole, but here the bill is ivory in colour, not black. The black Australasian raven, with its throat hackles, but it does not have a red eye. The little crow, again no red eye. The satin bowerbird, with its ivory bill and pink to purple eye. The common blackbird, another import but easily distinguished by the bill colour. On behalf of Plumes of Oz, thank you for watching this video on the metallic starlings. Our next video release will be the reef egrets or reef herons. If you would like to view this video and get notification of its release, simply click the subscribe button below.